All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first Living Live on LinkedIn, even though we're on Zoom. Are you ready to unlock your potential and create a life you absolutely love? That's really what this is all about. Now, I know some Fridays can feel like, well, just another day. But what if you could inject a little extra living into every week? I'm talking about discovering your true purpose, aligning your actions with your values, and making a real impact in the world. Sound good? Heck yeah, it does. And that's where the living philosophy comes in. Think of it as your own personal compass, not just for navigating life, but for thriving in it. But hold on, what exactly does living stand for? Let's break it down because it's more than just some fancy acronym. The first is listen. It's all about getting real with yourself. What are your core values? What gets you fired up? Think of it like peeling back the layers of an onion to find that sweet center. Next is inquire. Curiosity is your superpower. Questioning your thoughts, feelings, and exploring different parts of yourself without judgment. It's all about getting to know you better with kindness. Next is validate. Self acceptance is fuel for lasting change. It means embracing all of you, the strengths, the quirks, even the messy bits, because the more you love yourself, the stronger and more confident you become. Next is initiate, and this is where we take action. No more getting stuck in analysis paralysis. It's about small, brave steps that align with your true self and what you truly want. We'll break things down, celebrate your progress, and help you build that no more fear muscle. And then the last one is navigate. We all know life throws curveballs, right? From tough emotions to unexpected changes, we all hit those bumps sometimes. But together we can build your navigate anything toolkit, giving you the skills and the bounce back factor to roll with whatever life brings. Yeah, see, like the living philosophy isn't just about personal growth. It's about applying it to create a positive impact. And that's exactly what our amazing guest today, Siobhan Shaw, is all about. Siobhan is the powerhouse behind Growing to Give, an incredible NGO that's tackling global food security challenges with innovative and imaginative solutions. She's living proof that with a little living, you can truly change the world. So let's dive deeper into her story and see how she uses these principles to make a difference. And first, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this inaugural Living Friday, Siobhan. You're such an incredibly passionate advocate for food security and the co-founder of one of my favorite organizations, Growing to Give. Your story is one of inspiration, determination, and a deep commitment to making a difference in your community. So let's dive into your journey, exploring experiences that ignited your passion and the values that continue to drive your work. And so I want to start with a question, and this question involves really the spark. And so, Siobhan, can you share a defining moment or personal experience that first opened your eyes to the issue of food insecurity or the work that you do with Growing to Give?
Take it up, Jacob. Jacob rhymes with naked. Excuse me for that.
Yeah,
I almost think I said naked. Um, that's a way to start off living
it
live.
is.
It
It
is
is
live,
living
and
in
that's
your
what
best suit.
happens. Yeah, that's right. And that is what's amazing about the awakening that is happening. And I'll get to your question. You might have to tell me again, but there is an awakening occurring around the world. My community is planet Earth. My community is the universe, the infinite universe. And that's what we all have to understand is that you're not from sunny Florida. You're not from, the tundra in the Arctic. You are not from the East Coast or the West Coast. You are part of everything that is and exists. So when you start to think that way, you understand the impact that every little thing that you do can make on the whole. And when I saw Livin, I was like, oh, wow. So it's an emphasis on living,
Yeah,
apostrophe at the end
yeah,
type of thing. It's all caps, right? You wrote it in all caps and you dropped the G. So it's kind of cool too, right? I'm
yeah.
living.
Sort of
I'm
has the
not
country
living.
vibe too, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to guess what it meant. So I've got things like light intensity, and then the V just messed with me. I don't know. Loving impact, uh, light intentional vision impacting non-conforming, just a whole
Yeah.
bunch of verbal diarrhea is coming out. But it's
So
all
cool.
about living with increased awareness. And when, as a nonprofit leader, that's how I lead the organization, but I'm not the leader. And I'm going to use your term. I'm the activator. I'm the catalyst. You came up with activator one day when we were talking. I wrote it down. I actually have it on it right here,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
right
a
here.
jolt of energy,
Activator.
right?
It's all about our energy, right? So if you want a thriving nonprofit, you better be thriving, right? And so because we need to be sovereign beings within a collective so that then that collective can be sovereign. It can be authentic. It can be free, right? They always say the Matrix was a documentary,
Yeah.
correct? Well, it was, if you look at it from all different perspectives. You know, the beings weren't free. They were under the direction of, I don't even know, a computer model, right? Something like that. I don't know how to say it. So I think that we're in this time where a light's been turned on, and we're starting to realize that we have such incredible manifestation abilities that have been tamped down because we've been following the rules. We've been following what other people think we should be doing. We're living a life in a certain way, keeping up with the Joneses. We're having 2.5 kids and have 2 cars, and oh, we always have to have a summer house, right? And we need to eat this and sing that and watch this show, and we got to be, there's got to be drama in our life, or otherwise it's not worth living, right?
Yeah. You got
We
to
got to
feel
have a
something,
nosy
right?
neighbor down the street and a gossipy this, and you have to no, you don't, right? So you can be a warrior, a living warrior, using your acronym, right? And you can explain it to everybody again because I don't have it written down. So right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. No,
But
definitely.
but basically, I think that when they say the meek shall inherit the earth, that means the warriors shall inherit the earth. The people that can envision greatness, can understand that as a collective of ones, we are so much more powerful. We can become master manifestors instead of master manipulators.
And on that note, it's like because I love that. That's such a beautiful vision, and it's something. It goes back to this whole shift the power concept, and in in my opinion, the light outnumbers the ones that are not in the light and that are living maybe with a little darkness and manipulation. And I think that there have been so many events and tools, experiences that have awakened people to be like, this is not how I should live. I heard about your matrix metaphor analogy. I saw something about, like, it was this guy who made a video about uh living in the United States versus living abroad, and how it is you just get on this assembly line starting in K through 12, and you might go to college, and then you get a job, and you retire, and that's the cycle. And it's so rigid and it's so static, and are not us as people are dynamic. And so I feel like that, to me, like I sort of gathered your spark, and what drove you to do what you're doing now, and to bring people together around food insecurity, because it really is our foundation of our communities. And so speaking of communities and movements, uh, I think it's always important, and this goes with really the inquire part of living, is thinking about challenges. Like what were some of the early challenges you faced in establishing Growing to Give, and how did you overcome these obstacles? So maybe give one or two.
Yeah, so we have this most amazing evolution story, and um, it's a long one, so I won't get into it. But basically, John, my husband, he went through cancer, and he actually reached death's door. He had that white light experience, and it changed him as a man. And he said that that's enough. I'm here for some other reason. And he went on a quest, and over a period of time, he started to see, he was basically being guided, and he started to understand that the lack of water, that water scarcity was a real issue. And this was, even 10, 15, 20 years ago, when he was starting to see, he'd grown up in a farming community, and he understood, right, that no farmers, no food, right? I don't think that's something people understand, because they think no supermarket, no food. So somehow magically the food appears on supermarket shelves.
Yeah.
But I think if you ask 10 children, 9 of them would tell you it comes from the supermarket. They don't know where it comes from. They don't know that there's somebody toil and labor in the field, their hands, cracked from the working in the
Mm.
soil, the backs burnt from the sun, that they're so tired at night because of the hard work of farming. And but what they're there for is to alleviate hunger in the world. So without farmers, we got nothing. It's like without bees, good luck as a human race.
Yeah.
People don't see that connection. We need to raise the awareness of that connection. And one of the ways that we do it is we're here to alleviate hunger, promote food security, and environmental stewardship. Because John discovered, before it was even known in North America, that the weather patterns were changing, whether it's all man-made or a combination of cyclical weather patterns. We go in and out of ice ages over the eons. We have only a small understanding of the world, how old it is, what's happened to it. We don't have the whole picture. It wasn't videotaped from the beginning of time, right? So we have no idea, really, truly, what could or would happen. We try to surmise, but I think that what he started to see was places like Australia and the Caribbean, they were struggling with water, just water for basic everyday needs. They couldn't grow food anymore in their gardens, in Australia, and because there were water restrictions, because the weather patterns have changed. And this was long before North America started to burn up on the West Coast because of drought, right? So there he's seeing that, and he's like, I can do something about this. And he started the journey of an inventor. It's a long and arduous journey, and you have to have dedication. There has to be that spark you're talking about,
Mm.
because that flame can get very close to the wick, right? A lot. Your flame, it starts to even sputter, but it never goes out. And that is the key. If we can find those leaders in the world that will walk through fire to change the world, for the generations coming up, right? Those are the people you want to support. Those are the people you want to fund, right?
Yeah.
Those are the people you want to celebrate. They are going to affect change that is is generational, and they might not even have children. Like
Exactly.
John and I don't have children, but we are going to affect the next generation. People will never know,
It's your legacy.
right?
And
It's a
and
yeah, and I think that that's the biggest thing is we forget that we're leaving a legacy, and what's that worth? Now, if you have children, that you can say I'm leaving children, and they're going to become the
hopefully.
leader of the world, and they're going to save humanity, or they're going to be the guy on the asteroid that saves humanity one day.
Yeah.
Who knows, right? But what he found was he was guided to come up with something that would really make a big impact on irrigation in agriculture, or
Mm.
or the water waste in agriculture. So in agriculture, 70% of the world's fresh water is used for agriculture. 40% is wasted. That's a really big number, Jacob. There is no need for that. And it's wasted because of inefficient watering, but also it's wasted because people that have access to lots of water, they're not thinking about the people downstream,
Mm-mm.
right? So people in I don't know, Chicago, right? They live near a great lake. They got lots of water. They would think, oh, we don't have to, we don't have to worry about turning the tap off when we brush our teeth, and we can, overhead water our gardens, and we can, water our lawns in the middle of the day, all day long, and just so we can
Yeah.
have beautiful lawns. But what they are not realizing is that they're affecting the people downstream.
Hmm.
And from the people downstream, say of the Colorado River, the Colorado River was once a mighty river at its mouth. And when 10 years ago, I went to find the Colorado River south of Las Vegas,
Hmm.
and it's a trickle into Lake Mead. And anybody who's seen pictures of Lake Mead and read about the the drying of the lake, basically, all you see is the white limestone now, because that's exposed. And you and I talked about this earlier. The mafia is probably quite pissed off about this because their
Yeah,
body's
finding a
surfacing,
lot of
because
other things.
there's a whole town surfacing that
Yeah.
was underwater. So the thing is water is just one thing that we can affect by making changes, and small changes. So what John did was he actually created, and it took a long time to get it right. We went through all kinds of iterations of the invention, and now he's got the crop circle irrigator, which is the core theme of everything we do. So now we're able to grow a lot of food in a small space, virtually zero water waste. I would say zero water waste, unless the little sprinkler unit is turned up too high and it's spraying outside the confines of the irrigator. But that will absolutely change the game for irrigation. And these are thin lines, like drip lines, right? Right, with bubblers or spray nozzles. It's this irrigator unit that he has patented and invented that is the game changer for agriculture.
And I want to stick on John for a second, because I remember the first time we chatted, you told me that story, and it gave me the chills. And it took until really now, as I was taking notes when you were telling that story again, which I'm really glad that you shared. Uh, you know, I think you said he was being guided, and I think that, the note I wrote down is once you discover your true purpose, the universe provides, and you will see those signs because you're looking for them, but you send that. It really is the law of attraction, and sending that energy out. I've seen it firsthand. And just in terms of that resilience and perseverance that y'all have, and that so many other inventors, nonprofits have, um, you know, going back to the drawing, once you hit a wall, going back to the drawing board because you're in this for the long game. And so I want to switch to another question, and I love, a lot of the work that I do, and when I'm wanting to work with people, it comes down to values and guiding values. And so I'd love to hear, what are the core values that personally motivate you and underpin the work of Growing to Give?
I think it has to do with my t-shirt.
Yeah.
I wore it especially. It's my favorite t-shirt. Okay, which way does it
Love,
go?
peace, and
I don't know
liberty.
if you can see love, peace, and liberty. Core values, love everybody, even if it's difficult.
Mhm.
When you return hate with hate, it's rebounding to you,
Mhm.
right? It's affecting your life. It's destroying your peace of mind. So somebody does dirty to you, let let the big guy upstairs take care of it. Let the collective consciousness take care of it, because at some point the truth will come out, and the hater will be seen. They are taking the haterade,
Mhm.
right? They're drinking the
Gulp,
haterade.
gulp, gulp.
Yeah, and people will see it.
Mhm.
You just have to have patience, right? So if you can remain in this love vibration, this energy, and we're all energy, and I'm so excited because people are starting to see this.
Yeah.
I've been talking energy for a long time. I've been talking, obviously, attitude shifting for a long time. I've done my own, podcast with Donna Butler, and we did the Broke Wives Club and the
Yeah.
attitude shift for a decade. And, you know, uh, we've always talked about making a shift, making a change, being change makers, being those warriors that never give up, because it's easy to give up.
Mhm.
It's easy to give up and fall into um, complacency, fall into an addiction, fall into depression. It's easy to go there, and we've all been there. I mean, you and I have talked about this.
Yep.
It doesn't, we're all human, but one of the things is if you can if you can learn to move yourself out of a depression, move yourself out of addiction, that is a really powerful thing. And it's all based from the vibration that you're able to train yourself to kick in when you're feeling down, when you're feeling maudlin. And it doesn't mean you'll never do that again, and never mean you won't ever be angry or upset, or somebody hurts you in some way, or you perceive they hurt you. Your ego can still get in the way. And your ego can be really good, but it can be a disaster for people,
Mhm.
right? So when it comes, when it comes to what we do is we're trying to basically get a community to focus on the love they have for their community.
Mhm.
And by us helping to provide and fortify a, a more stable community through the sustainable agricultural systems that we provide through the nonprofit. We've been given a special license to do that. We're the only nonprofit. We work with sponsors and donors and anybody with money is
Yeah.
good to
Yeah.
get these systems into the hands of community gardeners, small scale farmers, the people that really need that leg up, right? They need to reduce their costs, their inputs. They need the virtually zero water waste irrigation. They need their plants to respond and be healthy and happy and productive and high yield, because they need even small scale farmers, but even community gardens and community farms that have CSA programs, which is, when you get the boxes of vegetables delivered to your house, or they have farm markets. They need to make revenue to keep their nonprofit going,
Yeah.
right? So they're sustainable in doing that. So we're helping them not only sustain on the side of the environmental things, but it's sustainable for the economy as well. So the development of the community, and then therefore the development of the culture, and so it all starts from love. Like if I couldn't give a darn, there would be no growing to give.
Mhm.
There would be no mission to empower marginalized communities, low income communities, climate vulnerable communities. There would be no, I wouldn't, I would be like, I don't know, take my Bitcoin and I'd go off and sit on a beach for the rest of my life, bored out of my tree.
There'd be no Living Fridays.
There'd be no Living Fridays.
Who
I,
knows?
I would have never grown and picked this purple bean spiral
Oh,
behind me
cool.
and sent those purple beans to a food bank and impacted somebody's life or people's lives that I never, ever, ever will meet. That is the most amazing thing. And then you're out in nature too, as a farmer.
Mm,
You know, if there's something about being in nature, it's where you belong. It's where we all started,
yeah.
right? And that creates a peace of mind. You can get through anything. Somebody could be planning your demise right now, and you're like, I'm all good,
Yeah.
right?
True.
So
Maybe.
because you're focused on helping other people, you're focused on the manifesting, not manipulating. You're focused on the creating, not destroying, right? You're focused on the love and care and attention, not the power, the greed, and the control.
And that's something I want to also sort of dig into a little bit. And it was when I was visiting a local here in Fort Worth, Texas, where I'm located, visiting a community farm called the Funky Town Food Project, which is sort of similar. It's a for-profit, but has that the Funky Town Food Project is nonprofit, working with marginalized youth, providing opportunities. And when I got there, the sort of the guys, the chief operating officer, really started to grill me, and he was like, why are you here? Are you a nepo baby, or are you like a trust fund? Like, what are your motives? What are your intentions? And like, what I appreciated about that was being challenged, because I haven't been challenged many times like that in this new walk of life that I'm on. But I appreciated that because I felt calm and comfort and confidence answering all of his questions, because I know in my heart where my values are and what I'm trying to do. And if you give me a chance to explain that, like, we can have a good conversation. But I think it really is like when you really believe in your purpose and your core and your values, um, it helps so many other aspects of your life and yourself and self-worth. And gratitude, you brought up a point that made me think about gratitude. Like, you know instead of a major mindset shift for me was accepting gratitude and the good and the bad, looking forward to the good and the bad, because it's always a chance to learn and grow. And that's what what sparked this whole live-in philosophy in the first place was the I think just general rigidity of how we're looking at life and interpersonal communication and skills. And I was reading this article, and it was about how can you track, which is good. It's good, you should track your growth, but like, how can you use SMART goals to track your interpersonal skill development? And it's like, what made me the thing that was like, no, just go out and live. You should just be living. Like, go
That's
out and talk
really
to people. Like, we're thinking too hard about how to communicate and build relationships. And it's just, what I love and appreciate about you so much is that you are your authentic self, and you have been, and you're your true self since the moment I met you, and even and before that as well.
well.
uh
You mentioned tracking. My head explodes.
mhm,
But gratitude is so important. I
yeah.
started years and years and years ago. My friends on Facebook would tell you, I started writing my gratitudes on my Facebook page before I went to bed. This is what I'm
Mm,
grateful for today.
mm,
I did that for years. I called it the horizontal layer, that was the tag, I
yeah.
guess. And so I'm on my way to the horizontal layer, and I'm grateful for this. And sometimes, Jacob, because you do get into these times in your life where just everything is going wrong, it's piling on, people are piling on, all this stuff is happening. And if you can find one thing to be grateful for, you go to bed
Mhm.
being grateful. You sleep better, right? You
You
may
look
look like a
better.
Mack truck still hit you from
Yeah.
behind, right? But you are going to bed with love in your heart.
Hmm.
And I still do that. I don't write it out on Facebook anymore, but I go to bed every night. And I got to tell you, creating, developing, and keeping a nonprofit going is very difficult, especially with the economy the way it is. People aren't just throwing money at the nonprofits. Even the big guys are having trouble, right? Like it's difficult. But if you can go to bed every night thanking the universe, God, the collective, right? Because we're all tied together,
Hmm.
right? If you can go to bed thanking all all that is, you are going to sleep better. You're going to then be able to wake up in the morning and your feet will hit the floor and you're going
You're,
again.
you're stoked for the
Okay,
day.
I got a great idea, right?
Yeah.
That's what happened to me when
Hmm.
over a year ago now. So the late 2022, early 2023, I'd come up with this idea because I'm trying to build a nonprofit by myself, right? I went to LinkedIn and I started looking for non volunteers. I
Hmm.
had no idea what would come, but boy, am I grateful I did, because I got so many amazing volunteers. We have a team of marketing people. We have a team of grant writing people, and they cycle in and out, and we find some new people. But there's some core people that have taken initiative and made positions for themselves. They're all volunteers, just like me. They don't get paid. They're just doing it for the love of the cause, right?
Yeah.
And for the people that they'll never meet, right? And the future that they'll never know in the generations to come, right? The eons to come. Any change that they affect right now has a ripple effect, right, into the future. So I found all these amazing people. I even have like 3 lawyers from Fortune 500 companies available anytime we need an MOU done or some advice, you know, something has to be, some phone call needs to be made, right? We've got those people, and they're all heart-centric people. They
Mm.
will they will walk to the ends of the earth to help you. Um, they're they're wanting to build their own community gardens in their own communities. Up in Detroit, Avery wants to do that. We're working and partnering with other community gardens and helping to retrofit their community gardens so that they're growing more food in less space, so that they can increase their revenues and they can become more sustainable, right? They can, they can go out and landscape residential places with food growing systems that
Yeah.
are easy for people to use without the hassle of weeding and the cost of watering and all that kind of stuff. So it's you're working together, and when you work together, there's great things that happen,
Mhm.
and gratitude is a big part of it. Um, if 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 I wasn't grateful for my team, if I didn't thank them for every time they do something, I'd say, like, thank you. I don't
Yeah.
just like bark out orders and
And
not sort of thing. I don't even bark out orders, but I encourage people to take initiative. And because I'm just that activator, that catalyst, right?
mhm.
I just happen to know more than everybody else right now. But one day, some of these people will probably be running Growing to Give. I'll be long gone.
And
And, right?
but that's as a leader, regardless, and even if you're not a leader, one of the best sort of pieces of advice I heard was like always be thinking about leadership development and succession, because you never know when you want to step away, and so having the people you can rely on and you value and they value you, is so important. And so what I want to do now is I want to transition, stay within growing to give, but look at it from a living, uh, you know,
Okay.
lens. And so this is a segment I'm calling "Welcome to Living with Growing to Give." And so today we're going to dig into the heart of your incredible organization, not just what you do, but how you do it and the why. Because a true understanding of your work really makes us all a part of your mission. And so I really want to everyone who's listening and watching the recording, and just get ready to listen, inquire, and be inspired. And so I feel like, just we can come back for an episode 2, and I'd love to dive into some of these other letters. But with the I think for nonprofits, and this is something I think so many leaders can benefit from your guidance and advice, and lessons and experience, is really around initiating and navigating. I've been hearing that a lot throughout this entire conversation, is all the different forms of initiating and navigating. And so I want to start with initiate and really focus on action and goals. So I think that is uh, something that, whether it's in your personal life or professional life, we can put these hypothetical barriers in front of us, that, who knows if it's actually going to impede your progress, but, you know, placing that barrier just right in and of itself is a barrier, and will slow down growth and progress. And so for anyone, feeling inspired, how they can take that first step, what does it look like to break down, like for you, a big mission like food security into achievable action? And so, like, I'd love for you to talk about uh, I love for you to talk about your initiative, the strengthening community gardens across America. How did you initiate an important and critical initiative like that?
So that's a great question, and I love that you've chosen initiate and navigate, and they start with I and N. So it's a matter of stepping in and taking action,
Yes.
right? So the food security space is huge. It's global. It's even a problem on Mars,
Mhm.
right? They're trying to figure out, as they're terraforming Mars, how can they grow food there, right? They have to water food. That's it. That's what they need to focus on. How are they going to survive? So food obviously is right up there with water, air, and
Yeah.
I call love. Love has to be part of it, right? So
Mhm.
you mix it all together. So taking action is really important. So those figuring it out. So food security, big, agriculture, big, right? Well, we started to go, okay, well, we're not going to go up against big ag. We don't want to drive tractors around. We don't have fields of corn. Although I grew up on a farm that had fields of corn, that was our cash crop, and we had beef cattle, and we had 600 acres. It was a big operation. But it wasn't massive like some of the ones out in the Midwest and the West. All these big tracts of land, right, that are growing our wheat and our corn and things like that, and they have a role, and they're amazing. Farmers from everywhere are just amazing salt of the earth people, right? So you got to thank your farmer. Anytime you meet a farmer, thank them. You you thank the veteran for his or her service. Thank the farmer. So what we did was, okay, so we have these systems, and they're very cool, and they could go anywhere, and they could, grow pretty much anything other, I'm sure John could figure out how to grow root crops with them, but it's mostly, beans, tomatoes, peppers, those kinds of things, corn, the greens, all that kind of stuff work perfectly with the crop circle irrigator. And then of course the vine crops and tomatoes, volcano, and all the different vine crops that you could put in that. So we you're starting to narrow that down, right? Okay, so these systems work here and they work here, and this is what they grow and this is what they do really well with. And here they're dealing with water scarcity and fertilizer scarcity. And and so you start to figure out like your little niches, right? We hadn't even thought, because we use very little fertilizer. We're not fertilizing the whole field. We're fertilizing just this little space, the crop circle irrigator. I'll show you yeah, you're not gonna see it. So anyway,
No, we
you
can
see that on some of the, maybe cropcirclefarms.com or growingtogive.org has pictures of that. And 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 so you're going to grow a lot of food in a small space. And that really helps you sort of to bring it down to, who are we going to help? Oh, are we going to sell these to small scale farmers? Well, it might be a hard uptick, right? Or a hard sell, because even me, I looked at it sideways a few times. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. Right?
Yeah.
Anytime John invents something, I'm like, I'll wait till see it. I'll wait till I see it, because I don't actually understand it. And that's where most of us are. I wonder if anybody understood the telephone or the light bulb or the wheel. Can you imagine the cave
AI technology
coming
now.
out and this guy's got this wheel and he's made this wheel and he's thinking this is great, and everybody around him in the cave is going, what?
What are you
Right?
gonna do with that? Yeah.
What are you gonna do with
You're gonna
that?
throw it at food hunting?
That's right. So just think of that when you think of inventors, because we're here today talking like this because somebody invented this. Zoom. Somebody invented the ability to wirelessly talk to you. I don't know how we do it either. It's like beyond me, but I'm like, okay, that I'm accepting of it. So be accepting of new innovation in agriculture as well. So we decided then, okay, so this is about food security, and the people that really, really, really need our help are the small scale farmers and the community farms and gardens, because they're feeding people, they're giving the food away in a lot of cases, or if they're selling it just for their operational costs, to cover their operational costs so that they can keep giving food away, or providing spaces for people who want to come in and grow their own food. In Akron, there are people from Nepal and Burmese. What? Anyway,
Burma?
just Burma. Thank you. Sorry, I just see the lettering in my head. There's organizations that we work with that have people from all walks of life and all different backgrounds and different experiences and different challenges in their life. And so it's really interesting to see, because what we focused on was and it took some time. We got this idea. We actually had it for a long time, but it really gelled last summer. And we called it Strengthening Community Gardens Across America. So this is our main initiative. And then as I networked over the past few years, I found that the interest was not only coming from the United States and solely from the United States and North America, but it was coming from the Caribbean and Africa. So I just tagged on Africa and the Caribbean. So Strengthening Community Gardens Across America, Africa, and the Caribbean is our main initiative. That's our almost 100% focus. And I saw, this is another thing, is taking bold steps, right?
Love that.
This is another thing. So I saw, somehow I was guided. That's another thing, is just allow your intuition to guide you.
Yes.
You could say it's spirit guiding you, or, the voice of your long dead mother, grandmother, or something like that, right? But however it is, you get,
trust yourself.
The idea is trust yourself, right? I love that. Trust yourself. And so what I did was I saw this Food Planet Prize, never seen it before, didn't know anything about it. And you could nominate yourself or your organization. I was like, oh, I can do that. They only asked a couple of questions. So, sent it off, forgot about it. And one morning I sit down and I'm looking at my emails and I see congratulations, not something a nonprofit sees a lot in their email.
Something you get really
Congratulations.
excited about.
I remember John was in the shower and I'd read it and I was like, congratulations. We love your initiative called Strengthening Community Gardens Across America, Africa, and the Caribbean. And we would like you to fill out the larger application. Right? Took me a long time to kind of get up the courage to fill it out. So again, but sit with yourself if you have to, right? I had a long period of time before it was due. So I didn't leave it right to the last minute, but I took some time just to let it gel and just
that
think about
inquire being inquisitive within yourself.
That's right. So I did that, and then I just started writing. John says it's the best writing I ever did, but I don't know. A couple of other people have read it and are like, wow, like, wow, that came out of you.
I don't think he would say that unless he really did mean that. And
that's right.
And
yeah, like I can trust when he says wow, I know I got something. 100%. But anyway, it's not about me. It's about the fact that I took the step because I wanted so badly to tell somebody about what we did, somebody that had some sort of influence in the world. And the Food Planet Prize is run by the Kirk Bergfors Foundation out of Sweden. It's the largest environmental prize in the world. It's a $2 million prize, and it's a winner-take-all prize. Well, didn't I get another letter saying, congratulations. You are chosen out of 1,000 applicants to be in the top 48 for the Food Planet Prize 2024. And then we're going to write an article about you. And because we write articles about all 48 groups that are chosen to be in the running. And then there is sometime in April, they choose a top 10. And then they have a jury of, I don't know who exactly. I guess you could read about it. I've read who they are. I just can't remember. Not that I don't want to remember if they're listening. I'm sure they're great guys. Yeah. But then they choose sometime in July, the winner is announced. And that organization gets $2 million for their initiative. And I remember them asking, they were looking at, in 10 years, if you had the $2 million in 10 years, what kind of impact could you make? And I said, oh, it's not 10 years. It's 3 months from now. Yeah. From the time we get the money, 3 months down the road, we'll have systems in the hands of all our partners, because it'll just like 3-4 months and they'll be growing food, right? So we're going to affect change rapidly using the virtually zero water waste crop circle irrigation system.
Yeah, I just have to say, like, I love this story and how you approached this idea of initiating action and taking it further by adding in, taking bold steps. And one thing that I can sort of, add on to that is not only allow your intuition to guide you. I mean, that's, trust your gut for sure, but just the taking bold steps. And I think there are tools now in technology, for me personally, generative AI and stuff like ChatGPT and Google Gemini have allowed me to take more bold steps, is to bring my imagination to life in ways that I might not be able to articulate it. You have this technology that allows you to be more confident, and it's a safer place to be bold. And so I love that. And it seems like with just having that as a factor, you know, of going up against 1,000 people. And what I've always noticed with grants and in the time that I've been in this space is just how uncertain it is, and how many organizations are deterred from even applying for grants because they're like, I'm not even going to get it. But it's initiating, it's taking those bold steps, it's believing in it, it's putting your energy and your passion into that application, uh, and getting after it.
And the thing is you have to realize that somewhere someone is going to understand what you're trying to communicate to them. And they understood. I could say the same thing to 10 other foundations, and there's not an alignment, let's say, right? But you have to take the steps and write the grants and send in those applications and take the time. And it's time consuming. We have a whole team of volunteers working on grants, right? It takes time to do them. You've got to find the angles, what are they actually asking for? What do they need? And then, go from there. It's worse than essays in university or something. Trying to get an essay done and you're on a deadline, right? So you have to really realize that you're going to put in a whole lot of effort to actually find the people that are aligned with your vision, that are our soul family, basically, because your energies are similar, right? It's not oil and water, right? It's water and water. That's what you're looking for. You want to stay away from the oil, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want that chasm between you, right? And that's another thing, is setting boundaries. Okay, so you do this in your life, you can do this in your nonprofit, in your for-profit business. Setting boundaries, meaning, you're looking for your tenants are, for us, we don't talk politics. I don't ask people their pronouns unless they want me to know, right? I don't ask them about their family life unless they want to tell me, right? I don't ask them what they did this weekend. I don't, right? I respect their boundaries, and they'll tell me if they want, right? And I certainly will tell them if I want, right? But I think that you're going to find the people that you align with in business and nonprofit and personal life, and you embrace those people, because those are the people that are going to help propel you forward to do what you're here to do. You're not here to just breathe the air
and use the water,
right? You're here for a reason. Make your life worth something, right?
Exactly.
And even somebody with even somebody on their deathbed, there's a reason why they're still alive, and it might be just to say, I love you, and I wish you a great life, and I'll miss you too from the other side, type of thing. Like, it might change somebody's world just hearing that from their dad who's passing away or something like that. You never know.
Something that you've always been looking for, but it's never happened. And so, Siobhan, thank you so much, because not only like for this, as we're at the hour and we begin to wind down this conversation, you've been such an incredible first guest for these Livin Fridays, and launched it and helped, not only in the stories you told. Like, what I'm trying to get at is, what I heard in all those stories is listening, is, you shared anecdotes about building trust, open communication lines, being receptive to feedback. You were inquisitive, you inquire. You offered examples of resourcefulness, creative partnerships, tackling logistical issues. You talked about the challenges and team building. And so validate transparency, celebrating small wins and big wins too, the importance of team support. And then, we stayed in initiate, but like I was saying, you really touched base on all these things, including navigate, where you gave really great examples of pivoting strategies, of mobilizing community, of learning from setbacks. And so I think, there's such an important ingredient. If I could say anything about the LIVIN philosophy, like such an important ingredient is developing awareness, awareness of yourself, awareness of others, and awareness of your environment and surroundings. And I think uh, raising that awareness is critical to any type of growth and evolution of self, personally or professionally. And so what I want to do now is sort of is begin to close, but I want to close with a call to action, and I want you to be able to uh, you know put this call to action out in the world. And so, our guests, audience, you've heard the impact, and now it's time for you to be a part of the Growing to Give story. Your donations, of course, make a direct difference, and we can on the link, and when I post this, we'll share the link to be able to support Growing to Give and their initiatives. But I want to give Siobhan one last time to really provide a call to action for the community out there, whether it be around strengthening community gardens across America or another initiative. But what would be your call to action for the community?
It's definitely around strengthening community gardens across America, around America, across America, Africa, and the Caribbean. It's not around. Because that's what's going to make the most impact. It's a legacy initiative. It's not, I'm just going to do it this year and then it's over and I'm going to do another program next year. And that happens with a lot of nonprofits, right? They have sort of their main program, but they have all these sub programs, and we probably have a few, right? But our main one will be always to help the small scale farmers in the community gardens and farms to become more resilient, to create a living community right in their space. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I'm grateful that John went through this. I wasn't so grateful when he went through cancer and life turned upside down and he, almost died a few times. And right, I wasn't too grateful back then, but I look back now and I'm like, oh, wow. And I think that's an important thing, is to look back at the things that happen in your life and look at them with fresh eyes, right? And so I'm able to be sitting here asking for donations to Growing to Give, and growingtogive.org. We have a donation button, and I'm asking for volunteer support. If you have a skill, or if you have a community farm, or you have land that is just sitting fallow somewhere, and you want to donate it, that's great. If you want to lease it for $1 a year, we'd love that. If we can work out something where we can put in a community garden under the auspices of Growing to Give, and we can find us a corporate partner to be the title sponsor on that and support it every year for 5 years or 10 years or 20 years, and they're going to be knowing maybe we win the $2 million. I expect we will. So I'm going to manifesting. Didn't I talk about
put it out
manifesting?
there, put it in the universe.
So, when we win the $2 million, we will be able to do it ourselves, but we'll still need that ongoing support, right? So I want to be able to have growing to give projects, whether we're in collaboration with the amazing local community organizations that are already growing food for their community, or we start our own in communities that maybe are missing that piece of the puzzle, right? Um, that's what we need help with. That's what we need encouragement with. So even if you're sharing, share some of our stories, share this link today from this LIVIN show. Um, tell the story, at the dinner table tonight, something that I said that, made an impact in your life. But I hope that I am able to help each and every person that's listening to become more aware, use that awareness to change somebody else's life, to make an impact in the world and leave that legacy. Because that's the best feeling, is to be able to leave a legacy. That's the ego that should be involved, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, so when I'm, fertilizer for the, when I'm being used as fertilizer on the crop circle farms and gardens, I'm leaving a legacy. I've
Yeah.
left something for the next generations. And I think that not having kids has actually amplified that. And I realized how important it is to leave that legacy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's spot on, Siobhan. And you've given so many really important nuggets to think about, and advice and stories. And what I love about the way that you share your work is it's through storytelling. And I mean, I know that is a lot of your in your former life. uh it was all about storytelling, and so that's something that's so vital in bringing people to the cause, because stories find, they always create relevancy and ways to see yourself in others. And so I just, again, thank you so much for making this first living live on Friday such a success. I had such a blast having this conversation. And so I want to end with this few sentences. But don't just live a life, build a life worth living. Be bold, be kind, and never stop reaching for more. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Siobhan Shaw and Growing to Give for the incredible work you do. And we will see you next week. Thank you. All right. End recording. I'll just edit that.